Greetings, my people. Greetings, my people. I greet you in the words that I always greet you in, a BB for Hodier, African liberation. I knew that was going to happen. African liberation. Today, my topic, I want to talk about clarity. And just being clear. So that's what I mean when I say clarity. What do I mean when I'm talking about clarity? A lot of times people know these are my vlog sessions. And in my vlog sessions, I just like to really unpack. And, we always talk about, as I said, we always talk about like know thyself, all of these things. Well, to know thyself, you got to start to be honest with thyself. So a lot of times with me, because I'm such a clear, transparent person, I can tend to come off a little too strong. And in my evolution and in my growth, I'm understanding I can't keep making the same mistakes, expecting different results. But and I'm gonna get to what I mean, because that would be the definition of insanity, correct? But okay, when we are talking about, like, let's say when we're talking about just relationships, and I'm not even talking about like just always a quote unquote those romantics relationship, but I'm talking about any type of relationship that you have, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a partnership. If you're in a ship, I don't know, how we do with ships, but that's another story. But I think we should learn how to nurture those things. So sometimes, like with me, in my level of clarity, I'm like I said, so like when I did the expectations video, and people will say, my expectations are too high. And sometimes in my really assessing myself, I can say I do expect stuff too fast. But like I said, in my growth, and I'm going somewhere, even if it seems like I'm going around, in my growth, I'm learning to do that less. So I need people to be as clear with me as possible, because sometimes, in those things, people are not always want to be clear with you, but they can be clear with others. And I think to make a healthy relationship on any level, people have to be direct. And a lot of times I can come across some way and it's really unintentional. But you kind of just need somebody to say, hey, you ain't got to do that. Or I don't like it when you do that. Because sometimes the person may not know, and it's habits. We kind of form habits of doing certain things. And a lot of times I've been guilty, and this is why I'm growing. A lot of times we'll just retreat and we won't never let the person know what's going on. That makes sense what I'm saying? We'll just kind of retreat, and then we'll say, oh, ooh, that person was doing too much, or ooh, that person was this, that, and that. But did you clearly commute that to that person? You see what I'm saying? So sometimes people continue to do things, or if somebody will tell you, it may be a buildup. Maybe that person doesn't know how. So it all depends on, like, the reason I say clarity, because when a person also on the receiving end, when a person is clear with you, you have to understand and respect what a person just told you. If a person says, oh, I don't like when you do that, or I'm not ready for a certain thing, or I would prefer if you didn't do that. Don't say like, oh, well, that's just how I am, because we have those people. Well, that's just how I am. That might be, but in any type of, like I said, again, if we're talking business relationship, you can't be a certain way. You have to be open for growth. That makes sense what I'm saying? You have to be open for constructive critiquing, because I don't like, when we say criticism, we kind of get a little bent out of shape that a person is quote unquote criticizing. But sometimes a person could be critiquing you. Like I have friends that I talk to, or I have family members because I don't have, and they'll tell me like, "Hey, that's why you have to have real people around you." They'll tell me when I'm effing up. They'll tell me when, there you go, you doing that thing again, or, you being too much too fast, and that's the kind of clarity that you need. Again, I'm 40, so if I'm just a delusional 40 and I'm stuck in my way and I'm like, man, y'all don't know what y'all, then you leave that person alone. But I'm a person that I like progress and growth and quote unquote success, whatever that is. So I'm always looking for ways to better myself. But I need people in my circle that will always be there. Even when I look for a potential compliment. If I look for a compliment and a mate, she's gonna have to like really tell me like, look, babe, I don't like it when you do that. You don't have to do that. Slow down. I'm here. Or something like that, because things we need and people say, well, you shouldn't do that. I kind of, I always talk about being real, because when you're kind of auditioning to quote unquote be with somebody or whatever, or you have interest, I think, look, now this is the thing, and we can talk about it. Like, leave comments, and I appreciate the others that's commenting on the other videos, but leave comments. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I feel like we should be honest about what it is we're looking for, what it is we're not. Because of course there's this build up, there's this growth process. But when you come into the NBA, let's use basketball, and you come to the LA Lakers and they say, hey, this a historic championship franchise. So even though you're a rookie, we have a winning culture, or we have this culture because remember I said everybody throws the word culture around and not really understanding African culture, not really understanding like, the power of that word. But they say, hey, we got a winning culture. So there's this growth process and there's this timetable of, hey, by year, okay, you signed the rookie contract, and I forget what it is now because I don't watch it as much as I used to. I still kind of try to keep up with it, but not like I used to. But what is it, a 3 or 4 year rookie deal? I don't really know anymore. But it's like, hey, within them 4 years, you have to show constant. You got to show development, because there are expectations. Back to this, see, we fear that word expectations because how people are sometimes. We fear that word. But sometimes you have to be like, hey, you have to be real about a person when you're coming on their team, whether it's for anything. Like I said, we got to stop thinking relationships and sexual so much. Even though, like I always say, I keep it real. I'm a very sexual man, but when I meet a female, I want to more so know about who she is. I mean, a lot of my sisters are beautiful, but I want to know like what's on the inside. I want to know what make a person tick. I want to know, I want to know that person. So it's like know thy partner. We say all these know thys, but know thy compliment. Because I know a few people that have been in long marriages and they really don't know each other. You see what I'm saying? They really don't know each other. So it's like, that's kind of like things, I don't want to happen, is to get with somebody and not, and it's my people in the background, but and not know who I'm with. That makes sense what I'm saying? To not know who I'm with because we wasn't clear about our expectations. We wasn't clear about what we was looking for. I get it, and like I said, everything is, my yacht. We put it on the scales for balance. We balance those scales, but we have to kind of have expectations. You know, females, I'm always say, don't let a dude in your life and y'all just don't have no expectations. You know, I get that whatever happen. We can kind of balance on that. Now, what I'm learning is I ain't got to get in and go from 0 to 60. You can't draft that player and expect to win that championship that first year. It happened, Magic Johnson, but we're not growing that. Even LeBron didn't win a championship his first year. Even Jordan didn't win the championship his first year. Kobe, whoever you give me, Shaq, they didn't win championships their first years. So there's a developmental process. But in that developmental process, we got to be honest about our assessments of where we are now. So all of these things, because when I say I think we have to do everything with intentions, and it don't always mean, because sometimes we live in such a negative environment and such a cutthroat world to where it's always we look at certain things from a negative Eurocentric lower level energy. So, my expectations or my standards or intentionality. That's the word I want to say. My intention. Now, I have good intentions with my women. I have good intentions with my brothers. I have good intentions with workers that I come in contact with. So it's all about, what are your intentions on doing with somebody, not necessarily what your expectations. Because when we get with people, and we develop these sexual relationships and they giving it to you good, guess what? And anybody, if I'm wrong, 10 minutes that I'm wrong about whatever y'all think, I'm open to it. But if that person is giving it to you, guess what? You expect that, right? I think that's how, when a lot of the celebrities are being sued, and if they break up, they say, "Hey, you got them used to a certain lifestyle. They expect that lifestyle to keep coming. If you spoil a child and give them everything, they're gonna expect you to get." You see how? So we clam up because we say, "Oh, expectations." Yeah, I expect things, but I have to be realistic in where I am and what I'm looking for. I can't look for 0 to 60. There's that process. We miss things when we go. So in my maturity, that's what I'm learning. You see what I'm saying? To be more clear about, because sometimes I can deny what I want and I'm not being clear because I don't want to scare a person off for whatever reason it may be. I don't want to scare a person off. So therefore I kind of will not um as I go through my therapy sessions, I'm really like, well, it's really therapeutic for me. But the word that we claim with, we say, oh, therapy, oh, this person, because guess what our mind say? Oh, you're crazy. Listen, you live in America. Or you live in this insane world that they constantly pump insanity. Men in dresses, men kissing men, women kissing women, all of these things, transgender man beating the hell out of a woman, transgender woman competing against all kind of, you get what I'm saying? So we all have like, we're in an insane world of how we it's raining and crazy and we're expecting not to get wet. So I don't feel a certain way. I feel proud that I'm a black man that's seeking therapy because I've been through some things. The loss of my mother, the loss of my father, the loss of my brother, the loss of friends. I've suffered a lot. I've seen a lot. So, of course, it's in the best interest that I talk and I get things out. Now, a lot of times females don't understand from my point of view. They don't really understand a man that articulate. And sometimes um, I don't like to say I do, because I like people that come in. I'm an open person. So in my open clarity, um, I speak from my heart. I speak from, it's always, you'll know it's real with me. So I need people around that can really understand. And it's like also who you have around you. What type of people do you have around you that's receiving your energy? That makes sense. That's receiving what you pumping out, what you pouring out. A lot of people, and then it develops things and then it develops things in you. The lack of communication, you may feel blown off. Person, maybe didn't respond to your call or something. So it's like I'm always in the crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's. No, it doesn't mean you got to put a straight jacket on a person. But I'm writing some things, and I'm going to be talking about that in the near coming up future. But I'm writing some things, and in some of that, I don't want to talk about it open like right now because the Swagger Jackers are listening. But we just have to be clear about how we feel about things. I always tell, the females that I'm close to, don't ever sign, and brothers too, but really don't sign off on something that you're not down with. Don't just say yes. Go along to get along. No pun intended. You see what I'm saying? So we have to learn to think more direct of how we got to put some power or NOMO, power, NOMMO, NOMO, African term for power. So we have to put power behind terms like healing, love, respect, communication. What does that look like in real time? I'm a African man. You can grow with me, and I'm rough around the edges. I mess up on. Sometimes I do. I might come across just too freaking strong. Oh my God, he just come across. But I'm passionate. So sometimes, like I said, I need somebody that's gonna be clear and let me know, hey, dial it down. I'm still here, but dial it down a bit. And I say, okay. But when people just clown, it make you feel like you can't be yourself, and that's when the hamster wheel of emotions start. And we gotta alleviate that. Like I said, we either gonna stress somebody out, we either gonna cause stress, or leave it. But yeah, that's just some things that was on my mind. Clarity. So I don't want to make long messages. I'm gonna leave you in the words that I greeted you in. BB for Hodie, African liberation for African people. Peace.